Welcome to the YouTubes. How are you? How have you been? How's everyone today? Go ahead and get this vertical live going. So happy that you're here. This vertical live popping. I have to set this up every time, so give me one moment to set up the vertical stream so I can see the chat and you can see the drawing. But until then, tell me, how have you been? What is up? How's the weather? You been making any art? Nice. Dude, you're like a professional over here, pro. Didn't you say you just joined Twitch for the first time? You look like you like it over there, huh? It's a cool community. It's a nice platform. Do you do gaming? You do some gaming stuff, pro? Sorry, I was trying to clean that up a little bit. No, I have 3 notifications. Sorry, I'm sorry. You get 2 notifications when I go live on YouTube. I'm sorry, that must annoy people, huh? Didn't realize. Thank you for telling me that. I wonder if I can do anything about that. Okay, so next up is pulling the drawing up. Let's do it. Boom. Here we go. So I just give it a second. Go. Alright. We will be drawing very soon. As soon as I can get the camera set up here. It takes a little bit of setup. So Bonnie's Basics video early gameplay. Oh, that's very cool. I see, I see. I see. Alright, so we can move the bug. I think we're gonna draw jazz musicians today unless we get some unless we take a curveball for some reason. Bro, what's up with you? How are you? What are you doing with your weekend? Have you got out and got some sunshine? Okay. If we can get some of this, so we're just gonna get warmed up, so bear with me here. Okay. This. So I'm drawing a guy playing a piano here. We're not gonna take it too literally, but also, you know, kind of want it to be obvious, not literal, but maybe obvious. Makes sense. Something like that could be working for me. All right, let's see if we can find some shadows. Be sure and like the stream, subscribe to the channel. What's up, Jamie? Oh, Pro says he's outside right now. Actually, that's very cool. What am I doing? I'm drawing. What's up, Golden Brown? Yeah, he playing the piano. That is for true. Y'all, be sure to like the stream. Subscribe to the channel. I see y'all in here chatting with me. If you're in here chatting with me, you can hear my voice. You can like the stream. Come on now. How are y'all? How was your weekend? How are things going? What have you been doing? Any delicious food plans? By doing anything fun like that? Anything delicious? I find some darker areas like this. I'm just guessing here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Part of what I'm doing here is like I just want to have a lot of fun, not be overly concerned with the end product. Like let's just kind of learn how to use the markers and our time. You know, let's kind of move quickly, learn how that works. Over time, you kind of just get better by repetition. What do we think? Does that look like a jazz piano player? Maybe we got to see a chair, maybe, you know. Kind of fix it. All right, let's keep cooking. Hi. For real. All right, y'all. If you're just joining, be sure to like the stream here. Subscribe to the channel. We go live and we draw every single day. Today we're doing loose jazz drawings. So the idea is to not be like overly judgmental with what we're drawing and just get it drawn. Then after we're done, we can take a look at it and see if we got there, you know. But first job is to kind of convince myself that it's okay to kind of draw badly at first, and then see how long it takes me to bring that, you know, back into the draw. What's up, Amanda? Yeah, y'all like the stream. I can see all y'all in here hanging out with me. Support the arts. Subscribe to an artist. Not only that, like after you like the stream and you subscribe to my channel, go find some more artists on YouTube and subscribe to their channel. Not just creators, but artists specifically, you know. Artist subscribe Saturday. Go subscribe to an artist. What if you know Dandy's World and draw Shelly? I could probably Google it. I'm not sure how to like the Twitch either, bro, but I appreciate it. You a real one, bro. Alright, so now I'm just kind of like loosely trying to find some shadows. And I'm still like constantly telling myself like, you know, it's okay, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not quite seeing some of the areas here, but I've surprised myself before. You just gotta keep going. Sometimes when you get to the end of it, you kind of start to see it even though you didn't see it then. Okay. Alright, okay. Alright, so let's find some darker shadows. The confusing thing about this fella is he's not playing his trumpet, he's just kind of holding it, but it's a jazz drawing, it can be whatever, you know? Alright, that feels like jazz to me. Yeah, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving, we gotta get warmed up. Alright, there's one hand, there's the other hand. That could be our underdrawing, that's pretty close. I'm gonna add a little bit of details there, but I think that's good enough. On some shadows. Alright. Definitely gonna have to get a new mark here very soon. Orient a little bit more. Find some more of these details here on this horn. Something like that. Apply some hair up here. Find some more dark areas. I'm just trying to find like the darkest areas in the picture and kind of bring them forward. Well, push them backwards, I guess, actually. Kind of wearing a tie here. Maybe we could see that in the negative space. And here. Foot here. Yeah, that's jazz enough for me, y'all. All right, let's keep cooking. Let's keep cooking. What do we want to do? Let's try a new, let's go to a new ship here. Who has 770k? Seb draws things? Maybe so. It sounds familiar, actually. Check it out. Let's try a couple more. Again, I'm just kind of getting warmed up here, so sometimes it might take a second to get cooking. Alright, there's one, something like that. Okay. Fingers up here over the top. And down here in the sleeve. Apply that face there. Ooh, that collar here, something like that. Okay, so we can find maybe some more details in this horn. Maybe like that. Apply some hair here. I don't want to get too much detail, so let's stop there. See where we can go. Thank you for the heart. Hi, Amanda. How have you been? Nice to have you back. Let's see. Hi, right quick. What you trying to? Oh, let me say hi right quick. Well, hello. Root beer in the cowboy mug. Is this a request? Is this a request? I don't know what any of this means. What are you saying to me, Amanda? So we're just gonna lay down like a base layer of some shadows here. See if we can't find the image here in the chaos. You know, and I'm still trying to withhold any judgment and just kind of let the drawing happen. If it's good or bad or whatever, it's like, it's not really my concern right now. My concern is just to like draw. And then later when I'm looking through my sketchbook, I can make some decisions on whether I like it or not. But I gotta remind myself at this point in the process, the way I'm working, I'm not concerned with how good it is. Just am concerned with doing the rep. And over time, I'll get faster and more, what's the word? More, you know, when you have like a better aim. it's like you can't, if I don't want to stress out about the drawing. So if I'm like stressing out trying to lay everything down perfectly, I'm not really having a nice time, you know, and I'm kind of in art to have fun. So try to find a process where I can just do a scribble real quick and maybe I like it, maybe I don't. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But it's good enough because I'm just trying to have fun. All right, let's keep looking. We'll do a couple more jazz musicians, and then maybe we'll do some more just regular gesture drawings. Something like that. Got a hand here. Another hand here. Pipes going out there. Something like this. Right, and y'all, the whole time I know it happens to you too. Like my instincts are fighting me, you know, and they're saying stop, slow down, make it look realistic. That's not where that line goes, or that's not where this goes. And I'm like actively trying to avoid that talk that's happening inside of my head, you know, and like trying to remind myself I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do something like gestural, something not so literal, you know. But I think it takes just as much practice. Um, yeah, if I can see y'all hanging out in the chat. Do me a favor, like the stream here, subscribe to the channel. It takes a lot of work to kind of allow yourself to make a piece of art where you're not really concerned about making it look a certain way, where you're almost like trying to have the piece of art revealed to you in the same way that it's revealed to the viewer in a way. You know, so when I'm done with the picture, I'll be just as surprised as you are with the outcome, is kind of a goal I have. You know, where it's not so much about retaining the image so much as like what's my experience while making the image, and it just changes my priorities, where my goal is to maybe just have a nice time. You know, we can bring some of these style, something like that. Fly here, he's got this suit coat on with this collared shirt, kind of breaks it up there. Horn, something like that. There we go. What do we think? Do y'all see it? Can you see the pictures in there? You seeing them? What do we think? All right. Let's keep going. Y'all want to just do some figures this time? Figure. Academy. All right, y'all. I'm just pulling up some references here. Let's find our references here. Okay, and let's start with this. All right, we're gonna try some poses here. Okay. Okay. All right, again, I'm playing the same game. I'm not drawing a jazz musician this time. I'm just drawing like a figure pose, but still like trying to stop the self-talk tells me like, oh, that's not right, that's not where it goes, that's not how it looks. I'm just trying to keep moving, you know? And then afterwards I can decide if I did a good job or not. But I'm like actively avoiding that particular kind of judgment at this point, you know? It's like I'm not even drawing right now. I'm just putting the markers down to see how the markers work is what I'm telling myself. And that it doesn't have to look like the picture because I'm focusing on like the quality of the marker, how I put the lines down, how I feel about the swoop or where these little pieces are, like how the marker kind of makes a different shape when it hits the paper, you know? Kind of keep in my head, like trying to focus on some of those things. And then kind of after the fact, you know, look and see what kind of image you found in there. You know, and I think it takes a lot of work to do realistic art. It takes a lot of work to do expressive art too, because quieting that self-talk, that editor in your brain takes a lot of practice. I think that's kind of what we're doing here, kind of like just practicing, giving ourselves some grace, giving ourselves a break, like kind of just letting your a little bit of your instincts maybe take over, kind of just see where it goes. Okay. All right, I don't want to overwork it. That's not too bad. Let's do another one. What's up, pro? Hey, bro, you looking at the Twitch chat? Yeah, it says your camera on paper seems to be delayed. Yeah, it's because I'm streaming from, it's just the vertical, replay. Ain't much I can do about it. Oh, but you're over at the horizontal just to see my beautiful face, though, right, bro? But I do appreciate the heads up. I appreciate you checking it out. Yeah, there's just not much I can do about it. But I see you. I got you in every chat. But just now I had my head down. I was drawing. I wasn't paying attention, I guess. Sorry. But I do appreciate you, you know, like, keeping an eye on things. Mod God in training. Foreshortening is going to be weird. I hate that. Shouldn't say I hate that. I dislike that. You gotta learn not to say things like, I hate that to yourself when you're drawing in your book, even when you're by yourself. Because that language, that kind of self-talk that I'm talking about, that you adopt while you're drawing, while you're making art, you'll start carrying that into the world. So when you're drawing, don't hate your bad drawings. You can dislike them or learn from them, but let's not hate any of our artwork. That doesn't make any sense, you know. And also, like, you don't want to get in a habit of like hating, you know, because then you'll get into your life and something will happen, and instead of saying, "Hey, I'm unhappy with this," or "I think this needs work," you'll start saying, "I hate that." So I think that's a good practice to keep in mind when you're drawing. Is like, you know, the kindness you give to yourself. You'll kind of be building habits, and you want those habits to be, you know, positive habits. Okay. So I'm also like doing this little thing where maybe I won't ever pick up the pen at all. Won't do any um erasing or anything like that. We're gonna actively like find the drawing secondary to what my expressive thoughts. Like I want the lines to look a certain way. I want to feel a certain way while I'm drawing, and that's more important to me than even how the drawing looks, you know? So it's like, how far can we push that kind of expressiveness and it still retain kind of like the image it's trying to be, you know? And that's what a sketchbook is for, is just to try different things, you know, and see what happens when you try those things. You know, and you just never really know. Just getting used to Twitch. Oh, look, you got the mod cod emote. Nice. Looks like you got a hold of it to me. Let's grab this arm here. Fine. We're just finding shadows now, basically. I just want to find the darkest parts of this pose, all the darkest, deepest shadows, and just kind of like quickly cover them with this little marker. It doesn't have to be a marker, just whatever you're using. It could be like a bunch of shading, like a little squiggles with a pencil, or however you end up deciding to put your shadows in your. But I'm trying to just like not concern myself too much with the detail and just try to, you know, just really cook, just get moving. And then when I'm done next week, when we look at the sketchbook, I'll turn it, I'll look at this drawing, and I'll decide if I like it. Because I have I realize, and maybe you've done it too, or and it's something you can kind of like borrow from yourself. Like, I'll often, like I said, you have that voice in your head that's saying, hey, you're not good enough, this drawing doesn't look right, this doesn't look realistic, or whatever your voice particularly tells you. Sometimes I notice, like, the next day when I look at something that I didn't like while I was drawing it, like, sometimes I might like it the next day after I've drawn it, you know? Hard to say. So I try to like exploit that, like just keep reminding myself that my opinion about the drawing might change tomorrow. So like don't worry about it right now. And if that's the case, like I could just feel free to draw anything. I'm gonna draw this pose again. I kinda like this pose. I'm gonna try to capture it a different way. You know, like and because it's a sketchbook, like I don't have to get mad if I didn't love the way it came out. I can just do it again, you know? You know, I think a lot of times when you're beginning as an artist, you might choose like a really difficult drawing. Like I'm gonna draw a picture of my entire family all together in one picture with my grandmother and my cousins, and like you got to get the like really nail like so many portraits all in one drawing. Like it's really difficult, you know? I think like sometimes we can learn to maybe not try to always do the hardest thing when you're making art. Like there's so many things in life that are just hard no matter what. Like when you're making art, what if we just like what if we find the thing that's not the prettiest when we're done, but the thing that was most fun while we were doing it, the thing that made me happiest, the thing that like resonated with me continually throughout the process. You know, like there's different intention you can have with each piece of art, and you know, we forget about the intention of the piece of art, and we think every drawing needs to be realistic. And not only that is that the case, but like if you look at history or you look at museums, like are the best paintings even good? You know what I mean? Because a lot of the best, most revered artwork is not like the easiest to look at artwork. It's usually things that are it's doing something else besides just being easy to look at, you know? And I think if you're like, oh, I'm an artist and I'm gonna make art that's easy to look at, like that's cool, you know. I think that's awesome, but like maybe sometimes it could be even more difficult. Like, how do I make a piece of art that people like, um, but maybe isn't easy to look at, or maybe it has a message, or maybe it says something more about how I was feeling at that time than it does like what it is, you know. You know, somebody said one time that every portrait is a self-portrait if you really put your all into it, you know. And so like maybe every single drawing you do, like even if it's not realistic or it's completely abstract, you know, what if all those kinds of drawings, like a random set of scribbles on a page, um, is really who you are still, you know, as much as, you know, a realistic painting that you spent hours on. Sometimes maybe the truth of who you are is in an abstract piece and not in realism, you know. And there's also a thing where like if you kind of try to focus on that kind of philosophy, maybe hey, guess what? What? There we go. What's up, bro? I have pose suggestions. I'm sorry, I was drawing and chatting. What kind of poses you got an idea in mind, bro? Maybe do a couple more drawings and then I'm gonna get out of here. Well, these drawings are difficult. Let's find some high level poses by this guy. Keep moving. Also, if I was smart, would be drawing these figures smaller. I don't know why I do that. All right, let's try to go smaller and see what happens. Okay. 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 There's totally turn this away. Okay. All right. All right. You see, there's some fun things happening here that like I'm not really doing on purpose, and I'm just kind of finding at the same time as the art's coming together. Like, um, you know, I'm kind of like finding the drawing along with everybody else. Um, you know, something like that. Try to find some shadows here. Heart's Army. What's up, Anitra? Anitra Huston. Some shadows here. Thank you for the heart. Bro's hand even hurting. What's that mean? You know what we could do a couple of that seems to be fun on stream is I can draw with my left hand as well. So maybe we'll do some left-handed drawings as well here soon. See, and I'm just trying to find some shadows in the drawing. Is all. And I'm still playing the self-talk game where I'm not allowing that voice in my head that says, hey, that's not good enough, or that's nine's not in the right place, or whatever it is. I'm just kind of like killing all that self-talk, and I'm just spending all my time just drawing, you know? There's so many kind of places in our life where that self-talk will help, you know? And there's also times in art where that self-talk really helps. But, you know, there's also times when maybe you try something a little different, you know? Where it's like, let's take that little part of our brain that's going to tell us the drawing ain't perfect and just ignore it for now. And then later, maybe that voice has something important to say tomorrow when I'm done drawing. But right now, it's not his turn to tell me what to do. Maybe tomorrow I can listen when I'm digging through my sketches. That voice can tell me how I did. But right now, it's none of his business. That's not too bad. It's kind of fun. Just keep cooking. Maybe we can put this down here. It'll be a tough one, but let's find it. Like that. Okay. Right. You know, when the poses are like what they call a T pose, maybe you know what a T pose is, where all the arms are out and it's real easy to see all the body parts. Like those are the easiest kind of drawings to pull off. When somebody's like all curled up in a ball, or they're like in a position where you can't see all their limbs easily, it definitely makes it a more difficult. So like this particular drawing, she's kind of on her knee here and all balled up, and it's like, how do I make sense of this, you know? But, you know, I've noticed, and sometimes these kind of poses is that they never make sense until like the next day. It's like, oh, I hated this drawing the whole time I was doing it. And then when I woke up and I looked at it the next day, I was like, hey, that drawing is unique amongst the other drawings in my sketchbook. And it's not always about like, is it the best one? Because it's not really a competition, you know? And I think it's more about like, am I able to be me, like unflinchingly in my art? Like, am I allowing myself to just kind of relieve the stress that I deal with every day, instead of like maybe like adding to the stress that happens from life? Because like good lives are stressful, you know. Life is a, you know, conflict driven kind of beautiful thing. See, and then maybe you'll notice too, like sometimes, like once you allow yourself to get past the drawing, and you might see sometimes like, oh, I don't get it, doesn't make sense, I don't like it. And then you might get to the end of the drawing with me and say, oh wow, I like that more than I thought I would. Because it happens to me more than it doesn't, you know? That was pretty good. Okay, we're getting warmed up. We're getting warmed up. Well, there's two chat, Amanda. Hey, what's up, Aldi Alley? Sorry, press superhero pose. I could do that. What's up, Amanda? Yeah, so we have the vertical chat and we have the horizontal chat. So if you hear me chatting to a chatter that's not in your chat, it's because we have two chats going right now. By the way. What kind of superhero? Do y'all want a specific superhero? Or are we just thinking anybody? Dun, dun, dun. Draw a superhero. We'll get a couple of more of these drawings out while we figure out what kind of superhero challenge we got here. Alright. See, you know, and we want to be, I want to be more concerned with like the direction and the flow of the drawing, and I don't have to be so concerned with like anything else. You know, it's all about the flow and the fun factor, and everything else is secondary. If I can kind of nail those two things, then you know we're good. This drawing is real dark. That's kind of cool. See, and now when you kind of just go back in to grab your shadows, the drawing sometimes will kind of start to take shape in a way that it did not before you added the shadows, and some of the lines and the decisions you made that you were maybe second guessing might kind of really take root once you start getting your shadows laid down, if that makes any sense. So like sometimes I'll be unhappy with like, oh, why did I draw a line that way? And then I wait and I go back, and when I start adding shadow, I start to realize that even though I didn't understand the line, I didn't understand the decision that my body made, you know, my instincts made. When I come back and I put the shadow down, I start to realize like, oh, you know, my subconscious had a plan the whole time, even though I didn't quite know. And that's kind of fun to kind of like realize that like if you give it some wiggle room, like your body and your brain and everything is on your side if you kind of can allow it to be, you know, if that makes any sense. Like sort of it is like staying loose, letting go of a little bit of control, kind of just allowing it to maybe just do what it's gonna do, if that makes any sense. What's up, Hayden? Hayden says hi. Okay, you want me to draw every superhero? That's a lot to ask. But also very funny. Does nobody have a favorite superhero that they want to request? You don't have favorite superheroes? Okay, we'll probably stream for another maybe 10 minutes, so this might be our last drawing. Unless we get a request. This is kind of a fun pose here. Let me kind of draw this while we're waiting to see if anybody wants to make a superhero request. Superman? Okay, that's definitely a superhero. We can do that. All right, so let me just kind of get this drawn out and see. Look, I'm gonna do on purpose like how bad can we, not how bad, but like how much can I let go of control here, and like will it still become a drawing, you know? So, like, if you look at that, does that look like, does this look like anything to us yet? Okay, and then what we'll do here is I'm gonna just find a couple, and then let's try to find some shadows. See if we can't find the image here, you know, even though it's not quite there yet, but like maybe it will be in just a second. Maybe it won't, but like who cares? Let's just have some fun. And then we're gonna draw Superman, I think is the game plan. So, is everybody okay with that? Is Superman a pretty good choice of a superhero for everyone? Okay, something like this. Furia. Okay, and then I don't wanna, okay. That, and this arm. Great. What do you think? All right, next up, Superman. Hi, Gabriel. What's up, Luna? Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for the nice compliment. I appreciate you coming in here and having something positive to say. That's very cool. With the internet full of people that like to come in and troll in different situations, by coming in and saying something positive like that, I think that's really cool. I think that's brave. That's hero type actions. I'm proud of you for doing that. Are you an artist as well, Luna? How much do I love drawing? I would say more than like loving drawing, I would just think that like it's part of who I am. So it's like, how much do you love yourself? Because drawing is kind of like that to me. You know, it's like part of who I am. So I don't try to think of it as like something separate from me that I love. I try to think it's who I am and I love me, but also like I want to stay healthy and up to date and I want to be the best me I can be, and that comes from like, you know, I know that art is a way that I can really be myself and make myself better a little bit at a time. And I feel like saying you love art is very romantic, but it's also mostly like it's a healthy habit that I've put into my life, you know? So think of it like exercise. So sometimes, you know, you might not want to go exercise. You might not want to go jog or lift weights, or you might not want to stick to your diet or whatever it is. You might not be like, oh, I love my diet, but like, I love being able to express myself. I love like in a quick moment being able to show someone like exactly what I'm thinking just through some scribbles on a sheet of paper, you know? I love connecting with people like you and everybody here who's here to talk to me and ask questions, you know? I do love all of those things. What do y'all think? That's a pretty good start, huh? What's up, Algie Alley G? How you doing, Pro? Look, we got a Superman going here. What do we think? Are you liking it? Um, Y'all, if you're hanging out and you haven't yet, be sure and like the stream and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna find some shadows. And y'all gotta trust that I have a particular style here. Y'all see how I draw, so um, it's gonna be expressive, Superman. You know, it's not necessarily going to be you know, it's not going to look like a comic book. It's going to look more like a sketch from maybe what a classic artist might do as a study in his sketchbook. So the way I draw is a little more, I mean, well, you can see it, but I'm sure you can see the Superman in here, but I don't want to manipulate my own expression too far. I don't want to push the drawing into a direction where it's not my drawing anymore. You know, I have a very specific style that I really love to do, and I want to somehow find the balance between drawing the request and also like staying true to my expression, if that makes sense. And you know, and I think that there's the art form is somewhere there, where it's like, how can I deliver the request and at the same time um stay true to myself. And I think like there's so much of art and our life in general where you have to work a commission or you have to work like just a regular job, and you don't get to control all the decision making, you know, and you have to kind of just go for along for the ride with everyone else, you know. And sometimes when people come into a place like this and they make a request, uh sometimes it might be tough, you know. You got to remind yourself that's part of the art form. It's like, we're going to find this drawing together as a team. And I also want to say, y'all, thank you for like coming in here and making a request. I know sometimes it's much easier to just kind of lurk in a chat, and I appreciate you coming here, being active, and being part of what we're doing here. And I appreciate that kind of extra effort. I appreciate that a lot. So thanks for that, for coming in here and making some requests. Also got to give a shout out to Pro, who's always in here. He's our next mod on deck. So what do we think? Is it starting to look like Superman, or what? Are we seeing a Superman in here? Okay, so let's keep moving forward. Add some more of these spots here. I think we could probably color in most of this. We'll have to find that badge on his chest. We'll find that last, maybe. Okay, he's gonna have his belt on. We'll have to find that. I have some of the highlights mostly here. Something like that. Okay, and a little bit of dissonance here where like would like to kind of like understand that there's a six pack there like that. Give my guy some of those lights, you know, Superman's ripped. Okay, and then let's kind of imply some of that stuff over there. Okay, now we got to kind of hit this S on his chest, which is kind of tough for me because I want to just scribble it out. But how do we get this S on his chest and not ruin, you know, my style? I think that's close enough. I think that's all we do. That just implies the S enough. Can you see an S on his chest in there or no? My asking too much of my viewer's imagination. But that brings up a good point. It's like, how much of this drawing am I asking of your imagination, you know? Oh yeah, I've been making hundreds of art. Well, that's awesome, Amanda. Do you have a place where you post it? What's up, Lily? How you been, Lily B9? Do you have a place where you post your art? If you would like to share, we have a Discord, or you could share with people here. I don't mind y'all sharing links in the chat, as long as it's not any of your personal information. bunch of dumb kids. Okay, something like that there. Okay, so how far do we want to go? Maybe we do some darker darks. Find some darker spots. What is this one? Oh, N5. Maybe. 5 is gonna kill me. Here's a C5. Let's use this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go in and try to find some darker areas. So some of this stuff just kind of pops a little more. So like part of the game, like a lot of like the self-expression talk, but like when we get to doing work that, you know, we want it to look like something, I'm still doing, you know, standard art techniques on like finding anatomy. And one thing like I really like to do is like just finding darker darks and lighter lights and just kind of keep doing that. So it's like where are some darker areas that I can imply here? What are the darkest images? I mean the darkest areas of my image, and like go in there and just kind of like try to pull that out. So I'm not even thinking of the image as a whole. I look at each little part of the drawing, like all these little islands, you know, and I'm just kind of like bringing the islands kind of to the forefront. And I don't know if they need to be in the right places or not, but I think over time, your hand just learns how to put things in the right place. So it's like, it's not that you can try harder, it's that you just have to do more repetition. It's like when people are like, talent is something you're just born with, they can do it so fast. Well, it's because they've done it 1,000 times. You know, it's not that they're better or they're trying harder. It's just that they've done it more. So like if you want to get better at something, all you have to do is do it more. You know, an important rule there is that like time is talent. Time is love. If you love something, you're gonna spend time on it. If you want to be perceived as talented at something, all you have to do is spend time on it. It doesn't take talent. It doesn't take a whole lot of trying as hard as you can. It just takes time, you know. So if you're wondering like, how can I begin to draw, or how can I be talented, or how do I know if I love something? It's like, are you willing to put the time into it? Have you put the time into it? Because that's what love feels like. Love is time. That's what talent is. So if you want to be talented at drawing, you just have to spend time doing it. It's not impossible. There's no crazy magic to it. It's only time. And that's true of anything in your life that you want to be better at. You just want to be a better person. You want to be better at art. You want to be a better dancer. You want to be better at photography. You want to be a better dad. You want to be a better friend. You know, you want to be a better boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it is. There's so many things in life that we're lucky enough to have a choice to exist as. And if you want to be better at any of those things, the secret is time. You just have to put the time in, and all those things will come together for you. You know, and it feels like in our mind that like you have to try really hard. And it's not about not trying, it's just that the time is trying. That is how you try. It's the time. You know, that is how hard you try, is how much time you put into it. You know, we think talent or how hard you're trying is like what I'm doing right now on the paper, but that's not the case. You know, so much of it is I've drawn Superman a million times in my life. You know, so it's like it's not too difficult to find him here in this drawing. cape a slightly different color, maybe. I don't have any N3s. No. Yeah, let's just go with this guy, I guess. Do we want to do that, or do we want to keep his cape? I think we wanna color his cape, I think. Even if we don't get the whole cape colored, I think we want to imply that this cape is not white, you know, or a marker. I'll use this side. Ooh, I don't like that sound. There we go. Maybe we imply something. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all requesting that. Super cool request. I love how it came out. I love to have like a reason to like draw something different. You know, it's always nice when the chat's like participating. And I think it makes me a better artist to like take requests. Not sure I would have drawn Superman on my own, you know? All right, so what do we think? Can you like the chat and subscribe to the channel for my improv scribble Superman? What do we think? No AI, no computer, no Photoshop. Just good old-fashioned sketchbook. You know? Can I watch you after 4 minutes? What does that mean? What does that mean, Amanda? Lily says good. All right, y'all. I think I'm gonna get out of here. We might stream a little bit later. I appreciate you being here. I'm proud of you. Keep making art. Keep being part of the community. Please like and subscribe. Keep making art. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget, if you're dealing with tough things in your life, let me just go ahead and hit y'all with the mantra. Art is for self-expression. So when you're having a bad day, sit at home alone in a room with a sheet of paper and an ink pen or a pencil or a paintbrush and write a poem, draw a picture, start a film, start an anime, start a cartoon. But when you're drawing, don't forget that it's not just about making a pretty picture. It's about taking all the conflict and all that time and all those things you deal with in your life that are hard to deal with. Put them into your drawings. I had a bad day, I'm gonna go draw. I'm kind of stressed out, I'm gonna draw. Maybe you got into an argument with a friend or a family member, you can go draw. Or you can go write, or you can paint, or you can dance. Find a good, healthy way to express yourself. And then when you start getting those feelings, put them into the art. All right, thanks for being here. I'm proud of you. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. Pro, Algie, Ali G, Amanda, Alexandra, Aiden Hall, Luna. I appreciate y'all being here and hanging out with me.